Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I certainly appreciate both your viewership as well as your subscriptions. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do is to post a few of these African American history type mediumship readings, and I intended to have posted these sooner, but time didn't permit me to do so. So, what I'd like to do, I'm going to be focusing on Black writers of the founding area. And the period that we're going to be focusing on today, or the era, is from 1760 to 1800. Because as we know, ladies and gentlemen, for centuries, African Americans have been really left out of the story of the nation's founding. Their voices, ladies and gentlemen, absent from the memory and celebration of the creation of what we know today as the American Republic. Okay? And I've had the opportunity while studying at Temple, as many of you know, I was an English major, so I had very good teachers, ladies and gentlemen, to name just a few. The amazing Dr. Sonia Sanchez, she was one of my professors at Temple back in the early 90s, and Dr. Carolyn Carshare. They were very instrumental, particularly when I took courses in African American Lit. Okay? So, with that said, we have an amazing guest that I'd like to um, bring forth here. And the person who I would like to bring forth is the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Briton Hammon. Okay? And for those of you who are unaware of who he might be, he's the first black writer. Okay, actually, his narrative is the first book that was put out by a black writer, and that name of that narrative is A Narrative of the Uncommon Sufferings and Surprising Deliverance of Briton Hammon. Okay? And this book was published in North America, ladies and gentlemen, and it is arguably the first African American slave narrative that exists. It seems to be more premise around Indian captivity. It's like more of an Indian captivity narrative, if you will. Okay, and as I learned through research, little is really known of Mr. Hammond's life after he returned to his hometown of Plymouth, except that in 1762 he married this woman named Hannah. Okay, so with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go on and just um, get this seance interview discussion started here. I'm gonna start off by just um, saying a quick prayer, okay, and then I'm gonna use my dominoes just as I did in previous seance sessions or medium sessions to just get an idea of what his personality was, and then I'm going to ask him a few questions here that I've jotted down. Okay? So, let's go on and just do this right now in terms of saying a prayer. Dear God, dear Holy Spirit, dear Mother, Father, and my three deceased brothers, I ask that you watch over this experience, making certain that only the messages of God would come through. Please protect both me and Mr. Hammond from malevolent forces. Please help me release my ego fears so that I can clearly see, clearly hear, clearly feel, and know the messages that Mr. Hammond wants to impart to us today. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I'm going to go on and shake up my dominoes here. And I'm only going to select 3 tiles here just so that we can get an indication, or he could guide me to the 3 tiles here, Mr. Hammond, okay? Telling me a bit about about his personality. Okay, so let's go and select through here. Okay, that's one, that's two, and that's three. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a peek and just see what he's trying to tell us here. Wow, we have a double three here. Okay. So, it, this person, it seems like he was more of an investigative type person. I'm kind of seeing, I'm kind of feeling that he was more materialistic than spiritual. That's what he's showing me here. And then you have these two threes is further emphasized there. And then we also have two fours there. So it seems that he was very much interested in things of the ordinary. He was beyond his years, I'm kind of seeing here that he's saying. He had strong intuitive tendencies. And it looks like he was very interested in the unknown or either things of the occult here because you're seeing this double here. So that's further emphasized that. It further emphasizes that he was. Okay? And then we have the number 6 and the number 5 there. So the number 6 says that people often saw that he was very, very attractive, refined, very sociable, like a very, very good diplomat. And then with 5, it certainly seems that he was very adventurous. He loved to travel. He loved reading, of course, and loved writing a great deal here. He also loved anything that's exciting or sex or anything like that. He loves that too with that 5 there. Okay. So let's add all of these up. Okay, it's 25. So 2 plus 5 is 7. He was very introverted, I'm getting to with that number 7. Very mysterious. He might even have had some interest, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, I didn't, um, as I said, is not too much known about him, but he looks like he might have been interested in chemistry or doing doing some psychology type work too that I'm kind of seeing here. Okay. So what I like to do now is to go on and to just go on and just do a reading with him. Ask him a few questions. And in order to do this, I'm going to take out a card from my African American Tarot deck. And the relevant card that we're looking for is the King of Wands here. I feel that he was more of a King of Wands type personality here. So let's go on and just see if we can find that card swiftly here. Okay, let's see here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to channel him through by using this card. Okay, in terms of seeing what messages he'd like to share with us. All right. If you like this discussion, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share it with others to whom you think might benefit. And be sure to press that subscription button so that each and every one of you receives future readings here. So let me see what initial impressions I'm getting from here. Okay. He's given me the impression, ladies and gentlemen, that he was very stubborn and greedy while living. I feel that he was very frugal with his spending, and some people might have saw him as a miser. I'm getting probably as a more of a stingy type person. Okay, I feel that he was very overcautious, very passive, and it seems like he had problems. I'm feeling like letting go of situations, letting go of the past that really no longer served him. And it looks like he really fought. It seems evident here. I'm seeing him, he's saying that he really did try hard to help those people whose voices were muted, particularly the slaves here. and he was considered a savior to some people. By some, I'm kind of getting. So, Mr. Hammond, with me receiving that information from you, can you give me a bit more information about yourself? He said he was always on the go and wanted to kind of live a long life, but of course he was saddened by his early demise here because we know that he was only in his 40s here that I'm kind of feeling. It seems that he was always, ladies and gentlemen, in a frenzy and loved, once again, he's showing me that he loved traveling. Okay, he constantly met new people that I'm seeing. He also says he was an excellent team player when it comes to business that I'm kind of getting. Mr. Hammond, there's little known about how you might have died. Could you just give me some, uh, could you tell us how you died or, let us know how you were feeling when that happened? Okay. Or circumstances surrounding your death. He's showing me, ladies and gentlemen, that it looks like he was being judged a lot before he died. And although he lived a rather, I mean, in some aspects, he lived a spiritual life, ladies and gentlemen, but it looks like he's feeling that he needs to fix past wrongs and he's a bit hesitant. Even after all of these years, ladies and gentlemen, he's still hesitant. So he's like, again, he's on the go. He hasn't yet fully moved on that I'm getting here. I'm seeing complications with the upper body that he's showing me. Okay, region that he experienced and that probably contributed to his death. I'm getting. So, Mr. Hammond, how do you make your presence known? Yeah, exactly. Because as I said to you, he's always on the go. So he said he comes back. He's lingering. It's like he's in limbo in some way and comes back and forth. But he feels that even though that he does that, he's fearing for his descendants. He wants to protect them, but he really doesn't feel that he has any unfinished business left. So I'm gonna see if I can try to convince him to move on here, okay? Because he's not really helping himself, ladies and gentlemen, by remaining here. If you like this reading, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share it to others, with others to whom you think might benefit, and be sure to press that subscription button, okay? So, why are you here? Because spirits tend to come for various reasons. Can you tell me why you're here and why you won't move on, okay? Or he says that he likes to provide leadership and direction to those less fortunate. He keeps stressing that. He comes to teach the world and his descendants about structure, about strength, he's saying, and about how to control themselves. I'm kind of feeling here. So, the $1,000,000 question here, Mr. Hammond, is can I help you move on completely? He's saying he's giving me a resounding yes, ladies and gentlemen, but it seems that slowly but surely because I'm seeing that tortoise in the hair type image. So it's going to be slowly but surely. Okay, so he is willing to move on, so that's a very good thing here. Okay, it looks like he's also wants to let the world know that he realizes his legacy impacted the world globally, and he's very proud to see what his legacy still, that his legacy still lingers. He's stressing that he watches and protects his descendants often, okay? Mr. Hammond, is there anything else that you'd like to share before I um, switch over to my Oracle deck and let you express 6 final messages to the world and also your family? He says that while living, ladies and gentlemen, he struggled with mental issues like depression and or drinking. He drank incessantly, so that all those also may be culprits to the cause of his death too, ladies and gentlemen. He says he had a very bad upbringing. Of course, we could expect that because he was a slave. And he wasn't hesitant to really try new things until he was, a bit older here. But of course, you know that he died at a very young age here. Okay? So, what I like to do is to just shift gears and just go on and just select cards from my Oracle deck just to see what closing messages or final messages Mr. Hammon would like to convey to us, okay, or to his family, because usually these cards are more geared toward comforting family, okay, or descendants here in his case. All right, so Mr. Hammond, give us 6 final messages that you'd not only like to share with your family, but just to the world at large. We certainly appreciate your contribution to African American lit. You were the first. Okay, let's see. All right. Wow. So whatever pain that he may have suffered while he was living or before his death, he's saying that he no longer has pain, ladies and gentlemen. Next message. Oh, he's also saying that he was met by so many loving people, perhaps those who preceded him. Okay? Next message. He feel happy and healthy. And because he's keep talking about his health, it looks like that his health was really troubled him a bit deal here. So let's he did have suffer from various health issues I'm seeing. Okay. Next message. More upper body, up in the upper body region I'm kind of feeling. He wants the world and his descendants to believe in yourself because you can do it. Next message. He wants people to know that even though that he was young, it was his time to go. And last message in closing from Mr. Hammond. We have been together in dreams. Okay? So, collectives, this is the reading. I certainly hope that it has offered food for thought. Be sure to send over your comments, and I will be posting more of these type readings. And we're not just going to wait until when it's Black History Month, but I'm going to be posting them more throughout the year. We're also entering Women History Month too, so I'm going to be posting those too. So I'll be posting both of those interchangeably as we go along. Okay? Again, if you like this reading, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, share it with others to whom you think might benefit, and be sure to press that subscription button. Should any of you wishes to have a more personalized reading, you can certainly access my website to schedule there. And there is a $15 coupon which you could apply to any of the readings there, or it could be applied to any customized reading based on your requests. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Bye for now.